welcome to the show. I am so excited about our guest today. We're going to be talking all about baby sleep, how ideas have changed over the years, because I was one of those mamas who was told to cry it out, sleep train, Ferber method her babies. I'm realizing now with the moms that we coach that people aren't doing that. The tides have turned. I want to know why. I want to know what I did wrong. And I want to be able to meet mamas where they are in their tired state right now, where you have maybe a 5-year-old you're trying to homeschool, you have a toddler all around your knees stepping on Legos all day, and then you have an infant on your hip that you're trying to breastfeed and is still waking up at night, and you're tired, mama. So I have the best guest for this. I want to say that she has a black belt in baby. Is that appropriate, Natalie?
It is.
I'm going to put my readers on right now because that's how old I am. And I'm going to read your beautiful bio because I don't want to mess it up. So today I am joined by Natalie Diaz. She is more than a lactation counselor. Apparently there's this amazing fancy certification called IBCLC, which I want you to explain what that means, because it means something like you have a doctorate in this boob stuff. She is an author. She is a podcast host and one of the most experienced voices in early motherhood support that I have come across. For nearly 2 decades, Natalie has worked one-on-one with thousands of moms through some of the most exhausting seasons of their lives. Newborn nights, feeding struggles, depletion that doesn't lift, the kind of tired that alters your stinking personality. I have been there. I mean, mine was a little different phase. I am on the other side of finally getting my hormones right with perimenopause. But I did experience a level of exhaustion that changed my personality in the last year. So Natalie is also a twin mom, which means when we talk about tired moms today, we are not talking theory. She lived the most extreme version of it. So have I. I had twins as well and built her entire career on helping other women through it. She is the founder of Twiniversity, the author of What to Do When You're Having To, and the host of the Twiniversity podcast. Natalie, hi. Welcome to the show. You are such a hoot. I just love having conversations with you. How are you today?
I am delicious. I think that's the word of the day. I feel good. I woke up. It was sunny. The dog jumped on me savagely because she was starving. And I'd rather that wake up than screaming babies. So yeah, I will take a puppy attack any day of the week. But yeah, thank you so much. That's such a wonderful introduction. A black belt and baby. I'm so stealing that.
You got
so literally can't even believe it. And also, I have another new book called The Newborn Twin Sleep Guide. So that goes beautifully with today and the topic. And we're going to talk about everything. But I don't know, I'm always willing to talk about literally anything. But that black belt and baby really is. My goal is to just make sure that parents feel fulfilled by their experience. And although I am an IBCLC, which stands for International Board Certified Lactation Consultant, which means that I am actually certified to work anywhere in the world. So it doesn't matter if you are in Brooklyn or Beijing, it is the same process. The physiological process of breastfeeding is not different through any culture or like every human. That's it. I'm made to feed humans. So that is where my degree came, with the expectation of potentially writing a third book. As I stroke my beard, if I had one, it would be kind of that long thing. But yeah, I love what I do. I wake up every day excited to really make a better experience for a mama, for a papa, for even a grandma. It does not matter. If you need support, that's what we are here for. But of course, we can only help the people that let us know that they need help. And then we reach out. But yeah, we got a great network. Twiniversity was started it feels like 200 million years ago, but it was started out of necessity. I felt very unsatisfied by the resources that were available for twin families when I was expecting. I felt like a leper of the parenting community. And then everything is so different for us, right? It's like we got more doctor's visits. We have more stress. We have more tests. We're under a microscope, so much more. And then there's also the judgment of the universe. Like, oh, you must have had IVF. Oh, better you than me. Oh, double trouble. And it's like, guys.
Yes.
No, that is not. And it kind of reinforces everything that you already think. So it's like when people tell you, I don't know how to do it, I would just respond, I don't either. I don't know how. I just get up and I just do it, because what choice do we have?
Yeah. And it was wild. I remember being just out in public at a park and a stranger saying, are they natural? Right? Like, are your twins natural?
No, they're aliens. Yes.
Yes. Well, and I had my twins in the LA twin scene, which was a scene. And I remember being desperate. I had the lactation consultant that specialized in twins, where you go and you like weigh the babies and then you feed them and then you pump and then you this and that and the other. And it was just such a roller coaster journey having those twins. And mine were a little bit early, not that early, not, but one of them was in the NICU for a while. And so, taking one home and not taking the other home. But I want to ask you, I want you to remember, go back to when you were the most exhausted that you ever were as a mom of newborn twins. What was that season like, and what got you through it, Natalie?
It's very funny, because Mother Nature basically puts a newborn, a new mom's brain in bubble wrap. And so you'll remember things, right? My twins are 21 years old. I remember things in theory. And then there are things that I could remember, hardcore concrete facts. Like, I could tell you the color of the paint on the room in my postpartum recovery room. I could tell you that. I cannot tell you what I made for dinner last night. I could tell you that I know that it was a blur, and I could remember a lot of things in pictures versus remember them in the first person, because it's so stressful. And I unfortunately had the golden ticket for postpartum depression as well. So that was definitely a struggle. I did not know what that was. I never struggled with depression or anxiety before, which is unusual as a very type A New Yorker. I actually got away with murder for a long time, and it came out during my pregnancy. So that was fascinating. I thought that everybody just felt that overwhelmed. So I didn't think that it was anything special. And my babies were also born early and were in the NICU for 31 days. And then I had one come home earlier, one stayed later. So I remember that it was very, very challenging. And I can remember, one time my daughter had very bad reflux and a lot of feeding issues, which is kind of what brought me to become a feeding specialist, is that struggle was atrocious. It was so sad. Like, still to this day, I wish that I had me, because I know, I shouldn't say I know. Yes. I think I know what was wrong, but I know no doctors. It's so weird, because breastfeeding medicine is this weird arm of medicine that is not taught in medical school or nursing school. So there are things, even with gut-brain health and knowing about intolerances versus allergies, like that's not something that a pediatrician has studied in the detail that I have now sitting in this seat. But I think that a lot of us do things to kind of undo our own past, right? So everything that I do every day, I know, God bless my therapist. I don't know how she's never let me go, but I never even went to a therapist until a few years ago, because I was like, do I really need one? But I have to tell you, in all sincerity, it is so fascinating how we talk about things and you think that you unpack things through your life and you don't, then I'm still carrying a lot of issues 21 years later. And so every day I wake up, I just want to make sure that mamas don't have that same experience. And so, like Gandhi said, right, be the change you want in this world. And that's what I did. So the day my twins walked into kindergarten is the day that I changed my career. And I have not looked back. And everybody, the amount of times a week that I get people saying, you really love what you do. And I really do. And I say probably at least a dozen times a week, like, no joke, I really mean it. Like, swear to you, I don't know how I got to be so lucky to get to do this every day. I really feel fortunate. And every person that walks through my universe, be it twins, singletons, every walk of the planet, every culture, because I work right by the UN in New York City. So I get a ton of international families, which that's where the international comes in, because I'm ready for families of everywhere. But I am so fortunate, because I know that they could choose anybody in the world to help them. But the fact that they chose me is never lost on me.
Well, because I came on your podcast first and we just had a blast. It was just the best time ever. I love talking. Well, one, I told you on your podcast too. In LA, our favorite clients were our New Yorkers, and my parents are New Yorkers. And so, but they were born and raised on Long Island. And so I just love how you guys shoot straight and are just so fun and honest and real. And that's what I love. That wasn't the LA vibe of the parenting space. So you're a breath of fresh air. But I want to get back to, I think why, and I think we share this in terms of how much we love our vocation is, don't you feel like you're redeeming this season for families?
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah. Homeschooling 4 kids means I'm juggling roughly 24 different subjects at any given time. And a few years back, during a particularly busy season, I hit a wall. I needed some serious help with the heavy lifting of teaching everything myself and managing schedules for 4 kids. That's when I found BJU Press Homeschool, and we've loved their courses so much that we keep going back. Some families use them for everything and love it. I use them for certain subjects. Either way, total mental load relief. Here's what my mornings look like now. Let us take science, for example. My 3 girls do that one together. They fire up the lesson taught by a real teacher, well-produced, actual teaching, not just click-through busy work. And I sit there with my coffee, watch them, or make breakfast, and we discuss the big ideas. Every BJU Press homeschool course prioritizes critical thinking, a biblical worldview, and hands-on learning. I just guide the conversation and pick which activity or pages or projects we want to do, and everything's already planned out. They have an online platform included for you called the Homeschool Hub, and it keeps everyone on track, both me and my kids, without micromanaging or nagging. And when I have questions, I call my homeworks consultant. These people don't just help you get set up, they're available for you whenever you need them. It's like having a homeschool expert on speed dial. Go to bjupresshomeschool.com or click the link in the show notes to find out more. People are always curious what curriculum I use for my own family. And honestly, it changes. We've tried a lot over the years. Some work for a season and some completely miss the mark. But there is one that's stuck. CTC Math. It's a full K-12 online math curriculum, and it's won oodles of awards for a reason. It's just that good. I use it for all 4 of my kids, and they couldn't be more different when it comes to math. Finding one curriculum that actually works for all of them, that's been nearly impossible. You know that pit in your stomach when you realize the curriculum that you just invested in isn't working again? Yeah, that was us until this one. The genius behind CTC Math is that it's adaptive. The questions adjust to each kid's level in real time, so they're always challenged but never crushed. And mama, it does the teaching and grading for us. Yes, you heard that right. That's a homeschool mom's dream. Well, especially for me when it comes to math. I would think it's too good to be true if I hadn't been using it myself. And it's not just me. Here's why it's become the go-to for thousands of homeschool families. Free diagnostics show you exactly where to start, access to all grade levels so your student can fill in any gaps or move ahead, short video lessons that keep your children engaged, automatic grading with instant feedback, and progress reports so you know exactly what's happening without hovering. Math used to be our hardest subject. Now my kids do it independently. Here's the best part. Our listeners get 50% off. Use the link in the show notes to do a free trial or to get that half-off deal. Don't spend another year kissing math frogs. This one stuck for us, and I have a feeling it's going to stick for you too.
Somebody has to do it. It can't just be us, right? Like the thing is you have to, like what you do is so absolutely incredible and priceless. And the voices the voice that you have built and the voice that's amplified from your tiny little body is really magnificent. And it's what people need to hear because there's so much static. There's so much white noise. And so when you could be like, okay, this is my person. I relate to her on, a billion levels, even if they just like the sound of your voice. If you could just have one voice in your head and then you digest everything, whether it's a podcast, a TV show, a YouTube video, you take that home, you digest it, and then you figure out how it applies to your universe. That is what makes you, what I think you're so successful is because you do have a very specific voice, but yet you choose to talk about so many different things. And I'm totally obsessed with the home-based learning. Like I am I have regrets on regrets. I want to turn back the clock. I want the Wayback Machine to take me back. And I want a do-over with my twinnies. Yeah. But what you have taught me with 21-year-old kids is that they do not have to accept anything other than the best for their family. And so you're bringing it into another generation, although technically what we discussed on our podcast would be very beneficial to the listeners. I took a lot away from it.
Oh, yeah. But Natalie, this show is not about me. We need to talk about you.
But the thing is, but everybody understands what I'm talking about because the listeners that are here now know exactly what I feel. So understand, I'm in your camp too.
Yes.
We're just two women who want better for the people at that the ears that this is going into. We humbly want better for you.
Yes. Well, and so let's talk about that for a second, because I want moms to love this life, to love their life with their kids, to even love and feel like they didn't miss this infancy stage when their kids aren't sleeping through the night. Now, in the homeschooling space, when times get hard, every homeschool mom is told, just put your kids in school. That's the solution. Somehow the homeschooling is a burden, which it is not. It's a blessing. And that to make your life better right now, you should put your kids in school because your baby's not sleeping, or because this, or because that. So let's talk about, I want to do that Wayback Machine for a second. I want to talk about 2 decades ago, every pediatrician was like Ferber method, sleep training. What has changed? Because you probably have a better pulse on this than me, but I will tell you, the moms in my co-op right now, our generation, the moms who have our kids in junior high and high school, we all did the sleep training Ferber method thing, or a gentle version of it, or whatever. It's kind of cried out. But all those moms in our co-op, those beautiful young families that are having babies right now, they think that's child abuse. That's how the impression that I got, oh no, I would never do that. Can you explain how so quickly this came to be?
Yeah, I can easily. It's called science. So that's literally what happened, is that there were so much more studies that were done that showed us the benefits of, gentle sleep shaping versus sleep training, because you train a dog. Actually, you don't even train a dog. That's the funniest part. You train a human to communicate with a dog. So that whole training business really is so aggravating to me, because these little potatoes that are born, they are not pre-programmed to sleep. They have not known anything but you. And so now you put them in another room. And for the record, for those of you that are choosing to cry it out, no judgment. If that's what works for you and your family, I'm thrilled that that's what works for you and your family. However, I am traumatized by doing that 20 years later. Right. So fast forward. Oh, yeah. So only 120. 120 was like slept by neglect. I just want to say 120 was so high maintenance, and I had to take care of her. She was so fragile medically that the other kid, God bless him, man, my poor son, he was just raised by he was fed and changed, and he was definitely loved. That's no doubt about that. But he just slept because we had to really take care of her. She was catastrophically ill, really bad. So we're lucky, knock on wood. Fast forward, I know now that it was a dairy issue that nobody brought up to me 1,000 years ago. She's still dairy intolerant at 21, but that was never brought up to me when I was breastfeeding. So I stopped breastfeeding because I thought it was poisoning my children. But the thing that's changed is science. We now know that it is significantly more important to build a bond with your children and to make them feel safe than to just be good luck, Knuckles, cry, figure it out. They don't know how to do that. That's not a thing. And the way that cry it out actually works is that babies just give up. They just give up, and they're just whatever, nobody's coming. Fine. I guess it's just me now. I never want my kid to feel like that.
So bad.
No, why? Girl, I did the same thing. What are you feeling bad about? I literally did the same thing. But that is why I felt it was critical, especially for twin voices, because it is different with twinnies than it is for a singleton. But that's why I wrote this book. So Kim West, who is literally the sleep lady, you could Google her, thesleeplady.com. She is one of my inner circle besties. And so she wrote another book about newborn twin sleep. And I'm like, girl, give me all that research. And I was like, let's do this together. So she did all the hard work. I have to be honest with you. She did all the heavy lifting. I took all of her clinical research, and then I wrote a book twin-based. So that is it. That's where the
that.
newborn twin sleep guide came through. And the thing is, it starts during pregnancy. If you realize how babies sleep, why babies sleep, and feeding and sleep are so interconnected that you can't have one without the other. Babies basically have two tanks. They have a feeding tank and they have a sleep tank. If one isn't filled, the other one doesn't work.
That's why they were having us do dream feeding. Are they still doing that?
Yep, dream feeding is still a thing because we want to try to satiate that potato so that they could have a longer road trip of sleep, but still have the necessary calories that they need to get through a day, because babies don't eat per meal, they eat per day. So they eat per 24-hour period. So they still need to have that extra. And if you're breastfeeding, remember, your children choose their meal size. So we have to have some bonus meals, because what if you just had like a baby woke up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and just had a potato chip feed, but really needed like a ribeye and 4, loaded mashed potato feeds. So having that dream feed, which is basically a feed that's anytime after like a quote unquote bedtime. When I'm working with new families, and I work with families with sleeping, with feeding, with parenting issues, forget it. Today we have a 4th trimester class. And also for all the twin families that are listening, if you haven't found Twiniversity yet, we have a ton of free resources, because
Yes.
I not that we don't have stuff behind a paywall, we do, but I think that there has to be a certain level of free education that is for new moms, because there's so much stuff behind a paywall that honestly isn't really worth it. And it, like, you already spent that money. And so for free 99, which is what our classes are on most Mondays at 1 o'clock Eastern, today's our 4th trimester class. We do a twin sleep school. We do a newborn sleep school. We do a pumping class. We do a boob camp about breastfeeding, and we do a twins delivery day boot camp. We have babies on a budget coming up, because people do not realize that you have to budget for children the same way you budget for a car, for a house. I don't know how people are recklessly spending, especially in today's economy. This is not the time. And even if you are an Astor or a Rockefeller and you have, trust fund money, that does not mean that that's going to last. And your kids still have to go to college. You got to think about that planning. Even though they're only 2 months old, you have to have a strategy. Everybody's got to have an exit plan. You have to have an exit plan for retirement. You have to have an exit plan for everything. So it was probably when my kids were like 7 that we were like, oh my God, we didn't do anything. We were like totally unprepared. So anything that I realized that I did incorrectly has become a Twiniversity class.
Is your child struggling with attention, memory, reading, writing, or math? If you're experiencing this, you know how heart-wrenching it is to watch them face these hurdles. You've poured love, time, and attention into their education, yet the struggle persists, leaving you feeling stuck and desperately searching for answers. You guys, I want you to know about Learning RX, a proven program designed to help your child's cognitive skills, enabling them to think faster, learn more easily, and perform at their best. I'm talking getting real long-term help here with things like ADHD and dyslexia. Learning RX is backed by 35 years of research, and their results are transformative. Use code HOME50 for $50 off your cognitive skills assessment. Go to learningrx.com or click the link in the show notes. Think homeschooling means doing it all yourself? Let me stop you right there. If you're looking for a partner you can trust, one I trust with my own kids, check out True North Homeschool Academy. They're Cognia accredited and offer live online classes and flexible self-paced options for grades 6 through 12. Your teen can pursue a dual degree track or a tech and trades diploma, all with teachers who share your family values. Small classes, college-ready rigor, real-world skills, and it all fits your schedule in a faith-friendly environment. Ready to learn more? Head to truenorthhomeschool.academy or click the link in the show notes to explore courses and get started today. I love that. And I was just on your website and I was thinking, oh my goodness, so much is offered for free. And these principles apply whether you're a twin parent or not, because how you help your baby sleep is it applies to all of this. Now, you mentioned something earlier that I want to go back to. You said you were traumatized. I get that. And I hear moms say, I couldn't do it. I could not do that. The sleep training. I'm very curious though, is it traumatizing to kids? No, the baby.
We have no real research that shows that it's going to have any long-term impact. However, it doesn't matter what happens to those potatoes, because if we're carrying that, if that's our baggage, we're bringing that baggage into that child. So if we had a crappy night or if we had anxiety, and you have to remember, babies do not self-regulate. They co-regulate. So if they're losing their marbles and you pick them up and you're losing your marbles, everybody, it's like the house is on fire and we're ignoring the smoke alarm. That's what that is. Now, yes, you could be somebody that would be like, girl, get over yourself. You could cry a little bit. You're going to be fine. But all you have to do is just sit next to that potato and just say, you're fine. You're okay. We're going to work on this together. We will do this together. It's critical that we understand that raising children is not an independent thing. They are not tiny robots. Girl, the other day, did you see on the news that there's this new robot in Japan that breastfeeds?
No, oh brother.
Stop
Are you
it.
kidding?
I am not kidding. I am not kidding. And I understand technology, and I understand that we are better than we were when we were living in a cave. And I'm thankful for the wheel. I am. But there are certain things that are just species specific, and we are just mammals. And we do not need robots raising our children. And every time I go to these baby shows, which I go to a lot of baby shows, there's like one big one coming up next week, ironically. So they have like strollers with, motors, and they have new pillows. I always remind parents, if your grandparents didn't have it, you don't need it.
Yes.
Need and want are two different things. You don't need it. You may want it. That's fine. You get to have nice things. But we don't need a lot. The thing that your potato needs is you. And when they're losing their mind and they're screaming, they're just like, where is she? Where is he? Where are they? What happened? What am I doing? And it's so important that we realize that they're not crying to trick you. They're not manipulating you. Like I hear so many times that even pediatricians were like, oh, you just got to let them cry it out. But I'm like, do we? I did. So one potato, yes, one potato, no. The potato that I did was the chick who with all the medical problems, and we just got to 7 months, and I'm like, I can't. I need this kid to sleep. Did she learn to sleep? Yes, she did. Was it worth it? No. I should have took that baby to bed with me, and I know that it is in full violation of the American Academy of Pediatrics tells me that I can't sleep in a bed with my child. But tell me why we're the only country, we're one of the only countries that says that. Like if you go to a third world country, you think that they have a crib in another room. They're lucky they have walls. So it's so fascinating to me.
Okay, I want to ask you this question because you know how they were saying, I want the answer to this. You know how they told us we have to sleep our babies on their backs? Mm-hmm. Is that real? Because it never felt, I did it. I was a paranoid mom with newborns. I did it. I put them on their back and then was like trying not to make their head flat. Helmets, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. But I don't know if that's real. Have they done more research on the sleeping on the back thing?
The research that they have is fascinating because I feel like it's very selective. Yes, there is research that shows that for breathing wise, that potatoes are safer on their back because they can never get their little faces smushed. But then, of course, there's 10,000 baby products that are like, listen, we're going to make sure your baby doesn't die in its sleep, which saying those words are so anxiety producing to a lot of people. But yet tell me one new mom that isn't thinking it.
Oh, yeah, going and looking in the monitor to make sure those little stripes on the pajamas are going up and down. And we had the pad. Now they have this owlette thing. We had a pad. Our babies had to lay on a pad. And
Angel
by the
care.
way, that one. And I will let you know that one of my twins, when she was new, the one not in the NICU, when she was an infant, she was laying in a carrier, and I was on my computer checking email, and I look over and she was blue. An infant. She just started asphyxiating or something. And I don't know how I survived. I was literally in fear of I want to cry when I think about it. Maybe this is unresolved trauma. I literally thought they were going to die at any second if they were asleep. The monitor had to be there. And then that was probably a lot of postpartum anxiety too.
Yep.
Related to this.
It was. And you are definitely carrying trauma. Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
The only difference is we're talking about it. Our moms didn't. Our moms just kind of like had a cigarette and a martini and kind of worked through it. At least my mom did. God bless her. No, she really wasn't that bad. I really shouldn't say that. My mom, may she rest in peace. She's going to haunt me in my dreams tonight. So no, she was a really great mom, but they handled things differently. And the way that they dealt with emotions was very, very different. It was buck up, right? Buck up, you'll figure it out. Now, certainly there is a time and a place to buck up. But if you're really, whatever is bad to you is the worst. So anytime I'm working with a client, right, if it's a singleton client, I could say, oh, sure, I could definitely roll my eyes and go, oh my God, it's one baby. Like, come on, give me a break, right? I could say that. But when you remember that everything that that person is experiencing is the worst thing that's happening to them, it is no place for anybody to judge.
Right. Well, and also the level of postpartum depression or that is so real.
Absolutely.
And they're just dragging themselves, one foot in front of the other. I want to talk about that correlation because I hope that from today, moms, do you think they're going to be able to get a little more sleep after today?
I hope so. And the thing is, if they realize that it's just like them, it's just like, how do you sleep? What brings you comfort? What makes you feel safe? If you are not cool enough, if you are not comfortable, if you don't feel safe, if you feel stressed, are you sleeping? No. How are we expect a potato to sleep, right? So there are certain ideal sleep conditions, right? So cool temperature between 68 and 72. White noise, because your womb sounded like Times Square on New Year's Eve. And so when potatoes come home and it's quiet, that is weird to them and eerie. So we need white noise to kind of mimic that sound. We need a nice swaddle, but you have to use the correct swaddle. Because
I put them in this like suit that zipped
the Merlin
up
suit. Oh, girl, yes.
Are they? Those things were expensive.
They are. They still are expensive. So you.
Well,
you
and I was like, I will take all my money, and I had sets of those things, and they would spit up so bad I would just wash. How much are they now a piece?
I don't even know, but
I feel like they were $75 or $80.
I bet you they're kind of the same. Which is crazy that they're not more expensive. Do they work? They work for some babies. So this is what parents need to understand. Every potato is different. When this potato is now breathing air and is on this delicious planet with us, it is important for us to learn about that potato. They are a new dance partner. You're not going to win the trophy on, what is the show that everybody dances? Dancing with the Stars. They're not going to win on the first episode. We need to get to know each other. And this was truthfully, this was stolen by one of my clients. I have quite a few clients that are ballerinas. And I don't know how I made it into the New York City ballet circle, but I did. And so I always find that I get batches of clients from different industries because of a lot of just recommendations. And for the record, I do no advertising, none. I basically have a website. I'm not on social media. That's a whole other topic, but I'm not on social specifically, intentionally. But I remember the first time that I met with them and I said, listen, we have to get to know this kid. And she's like, oh, it's like dancing. And she's like, when it's your first day with your new partner. So does your partner like to sleep like they're thrown out of a moving vehicle with their paws up? Do they like the compression around their torso? Do they like it around their shoulders? Do they like the feeling? Do they like it a little bit on the cooler side, even like cooler than 68? Right? Do they want to be closer to you? Do they like the bassinet? Because maybe a bassinet is a little bit more enclosed, so it's a little bit more muffling of sound. Do they want more light by them? We don't know these humans. They're just new humans. Yes, we are going to shape them a little bit, but ultimately we know nothing about this person. And there's so many cultures that don't swaddle at all. So we have to find out, is that what your potato likes? A lot of my families from India don't swaddle at all, right? It's too hot. But like, what are they doing over there? So it's fascinating that we are just like swaddle a baby the end. So it really is swaddle dependent. There's a great swaddle called like Swaddleini, which would be great for families that have like a higher medical issue, but also that's just a great swaddle overall. There's the Love to Dream swaddle, which is paws up. There's the Merlin suit that you said. There are bazillions of them. And ideally, fingers crossed, you belong to some kind of mom circle where you could get these secondhand to try out before you invest all your life savings in 17 sets of them.
Yeah.
So it's white noise. It's cool temperature. It's a dark room. We need them to know that darkness equals sleep. I'll have so many pediatricians that are like, let your baby sleep in the living room with all the light. Why? I can't sleep in the living room with all the light. And if we want to set the stage for not having to sleep train or sleep coach, why not set the stage now at birth?
Yes. Well, and I love how child centric this is because I feel like, it's so our missions are so in alignment because when I'm talking about homeschooling, it's what does the child need? Let's build what the child needs and life will be easier because we're not fighting nature. We're not, right? And so that's just so fascinating because I feel like, with the Skinner behaviorism, this sleep training thing was kind of like imposed on the children or this.
Yep.
And I love that you said like sometimes they're not going to have a full meal. I'm thinking back to that era where your baby was on a strict schedule and it's like if they didn't, they weren't going to eat again for this many hours and it's just that's just imposing our system on children and and life will go a lot smoother. I have another question for you. I was told when I was sleep training, that's the word that we used. I'm sorry if it's that outdated, but I was told that we really needed to do this because, and by the way, it was LA. We were walked through a gentle method of it. Okay. So, but I was told that if they've done research that babies who don't sleep through the night are adults that have poor sleep hygiene. Is that actually true?
So we do have to help them learn to sleep. I think that there is definitely some semblance of truth. Sleep is important. Sleep is important to grow. If we don't sleep enough, our cortisol rises. That screws with everybody's endocrine system. Like there's a lot that goes into it. And you're like, it's just sleep. What does it matter? And going back to what you said before too about the scheduling, right? I make air quotes with scheduling. I don't like to use the word schedule. I like to use the word routine.
Yes.
Because babies can't tell time, right? Babies like we've been doing things before hourglasses have existed. Why all of a sudden do we need to keep a schedule? Yes, we do have to feed a potato every so often to make sure that they are not under eating and therefore lethargic. So we do have to kind of push foods into some potatoes that aren't trustworthy yet at the boob, right? We gotta develop that, but we have to develop that relationship. Are they trustworthy? Are they not? That's okay if they're not. They will be trustworthy. They just may not be now. But when it comes to adults, I do think that there is some correlation with that, I will say. So it is important, but it's as important for your sanity, like you said in the very beginning. Everybody has to sleep. And so if we do not sleep, there's a reason why. There's a reason why a potato isn't sleeping. Is a potato not sleeping because they're not eating enough, because they're uncomfortable, because something in that room is bothering them? Are they itchy? Is there a tag on something? Like there are some things that we got to take off the list before we even get to the level of ripping off the Band-Aid with letting them cry it out, let's say.
Yeah. Yes. And, and also too, it's just really hard to mom when you're so stinking exhausted.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a positive outlook. I was looking up some statistics earlier in preparing for this episode on just lack of sleep and how it affects depression. And it really, your entire body, it's like sleep is one of the most important things. And so for the mom listening today, who she has that baby, she's exhausted. She doesn't want to do a Ferber method style. She doesn't feel comfortable with that, which we totally respect. What can you tell? What are some things that she could do or try? There was a nurse one time in one of those Mommy and Me's who she did a whole thing on the stretching. She called it stretching. Have you heard of that? Where when the baby wakes up in the middle of the night, you give them a certain amount of ounces, but then you do that for 3 days. And then when they wake up again, you give them fewer ounces the next time. She called it stretching. Is there a real word for that?
I would just say let's titrate, as I would be like, we're just going to scale down. But there are a lot of I don't want to poop on any other sleep methods because if something works for you, it works for you.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
However, there are some sleep books and some sleep methods that are not very breastfeeding friendly. Now they would work very, very well for formula fed babies. And I think that's great, but not even for pumping moms. Because babies, there is one specific sleep method that says that before your baby goes down for the night, you should give them 7 ounces of a bottle to kind of pack them in so they could sleep longer. Physiologically, a woman can't make 7 ounces.
Interesting.
So so now what happens is that moms start to spiral because they're like, this book says that I have 7, so I should be able to pump 7 ounces. No, No, you shouldn't.
Right.
Most women and most potatoes that are breastfed will never have more than 5 ounces, even at a year. Because your breast milk is so calorically dense and it changes. It's so variable, where we know that formula is X amount of calories and then you're good forever. So you do have to keep going up as the potatoes get bigger. But for breastfed moms, 5 ounces is fine. So when people read that book and then they're like, this isn't working, and then they call me and I'm like, boo, we just stretched out that potato's belly. And now that potato always wants 6-7 ounces and you can't make it. So then moms feel lesser than, when they did nothing wrong. They did nothing wrong. They just read a book. So I say, namaste. Whenever you read anything or hear anything or watch anything, you have to think, how is this going to apply to me in my reality? So it is very, very important that we realize that, because it is not perfect for everybody. There's not one method that's going to work for every family. We have to make sure that whatever you read, you apply it to your universe, and it's got to specifically work. So for those moms that are listening right now and they're like, girl, I am off the deep end. Could somebody please help me? And I also was thinking how different our coasts are. It is crazy. It is crazy how we do things so differently over here than you guys do. And I've done plenty of public speaking on the West Coast. And of course, here, it's just my backyard. I'm used to it. But we are very, very different. And I'm not saying that we're going to win this one on the coast, but we rip off the Band-Aid and we get down to business. But we have to get it done in a way that's not going to leave anybody with shell shock. Like, we have to make sure everybody feels good in the morning. So the first thing that we do is we write down and we start journaling and cataloging what the potatoes' natural rhythms are. What time do they organically get up? What time do they organically get sleepy? How much do they typically eat? Do you do tummy time, right? And of course, this is going to be very variable dependent on the age, because there's a certain number of hours that potatoes need a day to sleep. So like a newborn could get easily like 5 or 6 hours of sleep during the day and then get a bazillion hours of sleep at night. New potatoes do nothing but basically eat, poop, pee, and sleep. Like, that's it. We got nothing.
Yeah.
But those kids, right? And so it's so easy for us in the beginning because we expect that to happen, but we could get burned out so easily, especially if there's an older kiddo in the house. So we have to say, how do we balance both? So I would say to new moms, listen, you take a 12-hour shift, your partner takes a 12-hour shift. That is your shifts. And do not worry about what happens when it is not your shift. That is not your business. And also, if we don't encourage our partners to jump in from literally the beginning, they're going to be very hesitant to jump in at the end. This is a team sport. Whether it's one potato, 2 or 3 or 4, it does not matter. We do not do this by ourselves. And even for the women who do, like, I have families that are in, on military bases in other countries that are literally flying solo with twins when their partner is deployed. There are communities of moms and grandmas that will come help. You just have to find the people, whether you pay it or whether you pay for it or whether it's free, you still need people. So once you have that, we write down, we know the help of what time people are coming. We know we're going to do a 12-hour shift. We start really tracking to see what our potato does. We start tracking how much our potato is eating as well, and not weighted feeds. I just need diapers. How much input, like how many wet diapers a day, how many poopy diapers I have a day. That's how our grandmothers knew that our babies were healthy, is by poops and pees, not a weighted scale. There's a new weighted breastfeeding pillow that's coming out, which,
oh my goodness.
So I'm like, come on, man. Could we just stop preying on moms? Could we just let them be humans? And could we stop with all the gadgets and stuff? We've been doing this for over 3 million years. We are capable. We are so capable. Yes. But there are so many voices in our heads. So getting back to what do you do today? You write things down. What do you do tomorrow? You look at what that is before you even start doing anything. You look at what the baby's natural rhythms are. You look to see when your tank was filled. Did you get to shower today? Did you eat? Right? So I recommend that people consider living their lives in 3-hour chunks. Every chunk should have a diaper change, a feed, a nap, some rest. And that goes for both of you. The potato and the mama bear.
Can it be for me right now?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Right?
Did I have a string cheese?
You could have a string cheese. You could have some almonds with cranberries and a little bit of manchego and a little bit. Our snacks are a little bit different. But yeah, we have to, I always say, live in 3-hour chunks. Don't worry about tonight. Who cares what happens tonight? We have no idea what's going to happen during the day.
Yeah.
So if we have to fill up that baby's food tank and sleep tank, if that means we got to do contact naps all day, you do it. Sleep begets sleep. The more potatoes sleep during the day, the better they're going to sleep at night.
Oh my goodness. That phrase is traumatizing to me.
It's true though, unfortunately. It really is. It really
remember with the twins coming back from the lactation consultant one time, I'm like, if I am told one more time that sleep begets sleep, I'm going to snap someone's head off.
You can. Try not to stab anybody. That's always, I mean, the visitation in prisons with potatoes, not recommended. But I will send you commissary money, just so you know. So don't worry about that. I got you covered, okay? Why we say that.
So nap trapping, like this is the thing.
It is, but you have to use it as a tool to get you to the next step. You can't
what does that look like?
So that means that if we know that the potatoes nap tank is filled and we can anticipate a better nap, like a better night, we need to have a nighttime routine. And so our nighttime routine should, even as soon as that belly button hits the floor, we start with a bath time, because the change of temperature for a potato is the same as the change of temperature for us. If we're losing our mind, if you jump in the shower and you physically change your body temperature, you will feel different. This is like a tip for every anxious person in the universe. Even if you could get an ice pack behind your neck or on the small of your back, if you are in the middle of a panic attack, you could be pulled out by temperature.
Yes.
Same thing for our potatoes. They're not having a panic attack. They're just losing their marbles because they don't know what that smell is. They've never smelled pork chops. They have no idea what that light is. They never heard that sound. Everything to a potato is scary and it's unsettling and it's new. They never heard a siren. They never smelled lavender. Like just what's in your home. There's so much sensory data that they're trying to process that the one thing we could do, just stick them on you. Yes, get nap trapped, but get nap trapped with the idea of getting to the next step. So how do you
put, like, you mean they fall asleep on you and you try to transfer them, or
I say just full nap, just like accept that you are going to be spending that whole nap with that potato. And if your potato sleeps on you in a carrier, in a carriage, like it really depends. And it's not like a pitch for like, oh my God, call a sleep coach. It's a pitch that, once again, your potatoes are so different that there is no one size fits all. And I cannot understand how people are like, hey, this is what you do. Even in my book, it says, this is a plan A. Here's a plan B. Here's a plan C, because I don't know which one is going to work for you. Right. But I don't want to say that my word is law, because it's not. Your potato may be like with Twinnies. I had one potato, delicious sleeper. The other potato does nothing but choose violence. Right. So in hindsight, I would have left the sleepy potato to sleep. I would have been nap trapped by the potato that was choosing violence, and I would have sat next to her and I would have put my hand through the slats of her crib and I would have been like, girl, we got this together. We're in this together. Yes. You are safe. You are capable. You are delicious. Like I would go back, like it's really coaching that potato to just calm down. Tell your nervous system, just take a break. You're okay. Yes. I got you, but they don't know that. They have no idea what these things are. I say every day, girl, I would never want to be a baby. I have no, like the thought of that overwhelming thought. Remember in utero, your placenta was doing everything. Their organs didn't have to organ. They had to do nothing. And now all of a sudden, they're just loose. They're just free in society. And we're like, good luck to you. You're going to be like us. But it took us X amount of years to get where we are. We can't expect a potato to do that overnight. So if you fill up their sleep tank during the day, you create a good bedtime routine, and then you see where the night takes you, and you just stay positive. Once again, that co-regulate, not self-regulate, right? Am I calm? Even if I am losing my marbles, I am going to fake it till I make it. Because that's what we do as mama bears, right? I cannot tell you the amount of times that my kids come to me with injuries and I want to be like, oh my God, I'm calling 911. But I have to be like, ooh, I didn't know a finger could turn that direction. That's amazing. Let's call the doctor, right? We have to stay calm because it's not going to benefit anybody if we're losing our mind. And so by literally faking it till you make it and putting that on the puppies, that will make a better experience overall. But it's very dependent on the potato. So when you look at that chart, you say, okay, my kid can't go more than 20 minutes without a nap. Fine. Who said they had to? Right? Who said that they have to get up at this time? Who said that they have to eat at this time? As long as in a 3-hour chunk, they have a nice clean diaper, they get a nice feed, they have maybe a little bit of playtime depending how old they are, and they have a good little nap, I'm in. That sounds great.
Hey, shout out to Summit Health Share for sponsoring this episode today. I love Summit Health Share, partially because it's my husband's company. What I think they're doing over there is absolutely incredible and life-changing for many families. What is Summit Health Share? Well, first, let me start with one of my rants about health insurance. Need I say anything? Probably not. But the copays, the denials, the in-network, out-of-network nonsense, having to get permission to see your doctor, paying thousands a month and then them still fighting with you every time you need just basic health care. I believe so much in the freedom that comes with leaving health insurance and moving to health sharing. Now, it's not health insurance, but it does replace it. And it's been around for over 100 years. With Summit Health Share, most families and companies save 40 to 60%, and they have a 98% customer satisfaction. You get to see any doctor that you want, even holistic ones. No networks, no permission slips. You ladies know how I feel about freedom. I want medical freedom too. Summit Health Share has different plan options depending on what your family needs. You might just need major medical, and that's great. On our plan, we get a little bit more, and we get free labs, free office visits, free prescriptions, and no copays. Our family of 6 has saved $1,000 a month. And if it sounds too good to be true, it's not. It's actually how healthcare should work. We've just been accustomed to overpaying for our healthcare. And a lot of us don't need to do that. So if you are on traditional health insurance at all, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to summithealthshare.com. When you get to the homepage, you'll see the savings calculator. Go ahead and click that. It takes only 2 minutes. And when you see those numbers, what you should be paying for the healthcare you need, you are going to be grabbing the phone so fast because healthcare is a serious thing and you're going to have really personalized questions and they are used to answering all of them. Tell them all of your concerns, all of your questions, and they will tell you full stop if this is going to be a fit for you or your family. And tell them that you listen to the show because I want you to have the VIP treatment. Go to summithealthshare.com today and the link is in the show notes. This podcast is also brought to you by the Christy-Faith list. Now hold up because I want you to know what this is. I'm really proud of what the Christy-Faith list has become. It started really scrappy, just compiling recommendations because I was fed up with guessing which businesses and providers and doctors weren't going to give me a hard time when I walked through those doors. And I had tons of friends and family members with nightmare situations where they felt like they were walking into an ambush situation just when they were trying to get help for their families. And I was sick and tired of the discrimination that homeschool families were getting. But since then, it has grown into a massive directory of colleges, businesses, doctors' offices, reading specialists, occupational therapists, homeschool graduates that are in business themselves now. You name it, all in one place. Because why wouldn't we want to do business with the people who share our values and actually want to work with homeschool families and not give us a hard time? It is completely free for homeschool families to search. And if you are a business owner or part of an organization that loves homeschool families and wants to reach more homeschool families and grow your business in that way, please sign yourself up. We want to know who you are. It's the place where homeschool families support the people who support us. Go to the ChristyFaithList.com today. Well, and I also think, especially, I'm thinking of my experience and also homeschool mom's experience so I had my fourth when my twins were only 18 months old, and they were actual dangers to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would look and they would be crawling up on a counter that they could fall off of. And so the idea back then, the idea of being nap trapped wasn't actually an option because my twins weren't safe. Mm-hmm. And so here's the one thing too, I think this is your messaging too, is what works for your family. What works for your family is what you need to do on your, if that nap, what would you say to like a homeschool mom often will depend on a nap time mm-hmm. to sit down with her 5-year-old for 5 minutes to do a reading lesson. So for the mom who really doesn't want to be nap trapped, what are her options? Because that would have
just got to do it for a few days. She's not doing it forever. Remember, we're never like, I would never expect anybody to live like that. That is not sustainable for anybody. It is while we're learning. It's the process of learning, just like the moms that are teaching their children a lesson and reading to them. They have to teach this infant a lesson. Like it's the same thing. We are our children's first educators, whether you homeschool or not. It does not matter. We are the first educators. I know we didn't sign up for it. I know a lot of people are like, I don't understand this. Can I pay somebody to do this? No, you can't. I'm sorry. We had kiddos. That's just what's going to happen. So it's going to be like 4 days. 4 days is like, just expect chaos for 4 days. And everybody, the first 2 days is like, I was going to give up. I said, don't give up. Trust the process, because it really is a process. And I sound so crunchy and I roll my eyes even saying it as a New Yorker, right? I'd be like, I don't see results immediately. I don't know if I can keep doing this. But it is a process. That kid has to learn to trust themselves. So it's not going to happen. It's not nap trap forever, but also like, it depends on, like, let's say they were in a carrier. They got used to sleeping vertically. Now we got to get used to them sleeping horizontally. Then we have to get them used to sleeping independently. So like there is a process. So we say, okay, where are we starting? Where do we want to go? And let's come up with kind of like a plan to get there. So even like right before this interview, I had a client and her baby is 6 days old. And I said, don't worry about tonight. Don't worry about tonight. Here's what has to happen. Just take 6 hours today, and we're going to try it out. Don't get nervous. And I said, if anything, you pull the plug. The only 3 things that we ever have to do is we feed the baby, we protect our supply, we address the problem. That is it. That is the only, and you have to eat. That was it. And you have to eat because Mother Nature steals everything from you to give to this potato, which is wonderful. But then we're left with sloppy seconds. So we have to make sure that we're staying hydrated and nourished, right? Because we can't pour from an empty cup. So I gently remind moms, hey, listen, I'm sorry that you're overwhelmed. You will be okay. And I have your back. And as women, when we hear that and we feel safe, we could then protect our potatoes. So whether I really mean it? Could I have everybody's back? In all sincerity, I've been managing it pretty well for 17 years. I've been pretty good with it. I'm pretty good with balancing everything. But that's why, like, we need community. And that's why I say, who's with you? Who's in your house to help you, right? Because let's say we have that homeschool mom and she really has to read to that child at a particular time. Maybe we have your mother come over, your mother-in-law, somebody from church, somebody from the community group, so the UPS guy, whoever is knocking on our door. Could you hold this baby and make it sleep? I will be back.
Yeah. Well, and also the homes, because I have the tween girls right now. My girls would, for 25 cents an hour, they go over to cuddle a baby. Yeah. So, and I think, and that leads to the question that I wanted to ask you, and maybe this will be the last one as opposed to the final question I want to ask you, but what do you wish more husbands and pediatricians understood about what an exhausted mom is actually carrying? I think that, this whole culture of, this is our first, we're in like a 200-year experiment here where families don't live together as extended multi-generational households. And I feel like that has been the worst thing for women, honestly.
Agreed.
The waves of feminism, like, I'm glad I can vote now, but there's some parts of the waves of feminism where it's like, okay, so now we're working full time and we're still doing all the laundry and we're still cooking all the meals. And okay, so for the homeschool mom listening, I would say the majority of homeschool moms nowadays at least have a side hustle because it's just so expensive to live now.
Absolutely.
But for the stay-at-home mom, maybe the working homeschool mom, side hustle homeschool mom, what do you wish more husbands and pediatricians understood about what she's carrying?
So I think it's going to be very hard for them to understand what she's carrying. I don't think that is even a possibility.
Yeah.
I think that it is delusional of us to expect people to understand what we're going through. So what we have to do is we have to remember that we are not in control of what anybody else does but ourselves. That's it. The way that,
oh my goodness, this is so empowering because this goes back to you do the 12 hour, like give someone the 12 hours and So what I will say, okay. I'm like so excited. That was like a major therapy moment right there. But okay. So here's something interesting is Scott would give me days off, but I was actually really good because of my business background. I was a pretty good delegator. When he gave me that day off, I literally barely even left my room.
Good. We call those bed days. I call those bed days.
I'm like, I don't care what they eat.
Nope.
I do not care.
Correct.
And those were a lifeline. I would cling to those days, and I kept thinking, I have a great husband, a great marriage, but I'm thinking, what about these husbands that think that they deserve golf on the weekends? Like, what is that? Poor mom. But anyway, go ahead about we can't control other people, but we can control. So you go, girl. I can't wait.
We can control the way that we respond to other people.
Yes.
That's the only thing. I'm going to tell you, that is my mantra of our family. And I think that's a twin mom thing. I try to empower other twin moms, because the thing is, what I say to my kids, you can't control other people. But the other thing is, I remember that I saw, it was the title of a book, which honestly, I have to be honest, I never read it. But the title was, People Could Only Drive You Crazy If You Give Them the Keys.
So true.
So when it comes to your partner and when it comes to your doctor, it is fine to express yourself, but they have 20 minutes with your doctor. They're not going to understand anything. Mm-hmm. So you're going to listen, you're going to record that whole visit. You're hopefully not going to go alone, so that you had a backup pair of ears. You're just going to hear, you need somebody to just be there ideally with you. But when it comes to your partner, you need to have this discussion, if possible, before this baby is even born. Because there are different expectations. And when women do not realize the change that's coming, I remind them, we know these babies are coming every day. We could feel them. We feel like they wrecked our universe, right? We have these tiny little parasites that are just eating us from the inside out. We know that there's a change. For our husbands, it's like a frying pan to the back of the head on delivery day. They had no idea. And I always say, truthfully, and this should be your feeding people too, I encourage the Papa Bears to join, whether it's a virtual call, an in-person visit, a home visit. I actually require Papa Bears to be there, because I will be the bad cop. I will tell them they are not doing enough. I do not mind. That's where the New Yorker comes out. I love conflict. I am in. I will tell anybody, because
I love it too.
At the end of the day, it's about making sure that woman feels seen and satisfied and taken care of and nurtured. So when I remind them, listen, you married this person. This is now your job. She will take care of the potato. You take care of her. That's it. Yeah, and that is your job.
The secret is, husbands, she's going to feel so loved and so seen, and it's going to be reciprocal. Your husbands, you're in for a treat if you just love on that wife.
Yes. But girl, they have to understand. Yes, they have to understand that, because a lot of times women come to me and they'll say he's not understanding, or he's not anticipating my needs. I said, but he's not you. He can't anticipate your needs. He doesn't have the same needs. So unless you write them down, and don't write them down in a passive aggressive manner, just be like, hey, listen, these are the things that have to get done this week. Which ones do you want to do? Here's the ones I'm going to do. That's it. Right. Just literally matter of fact, not a discussion. It's not open for negotiation. It is this is what we're going to do. This is what you're going to do. And just remind your partner that your job is to raise good humans, not another generation of women carrying everything on their back, because it's impossible. And yes, and for the record, let me tell you something. Over here, I live in a very unusual situation. So I live in a multi-generational house. So I live with my whole family. I had the benefit of having my grandmother 17 stairs up. I had the benefit of my mother 17 stairs down. So where everybody lives in neighborhoods through the rest of the country, I live vertically here in New York City, but it's because my family got here from Naples in 1872, and we landed in the literal slums. If you watch the movie Gangs of New York, that's where I live. I live in the slums. Now, of course, it's like bougie McBougelot, but they bought this building, almost 100 years ago. And so we have always lived generationally. So I am not a typical New Yorker. So when it comes to you saying, I think that there's a lot of roles of women in the city that do have a deliciously balanced relationship. I don't. I have a relationship. I have a marriage from 1942. That's where my marriage is based. And it was very difficult for my husband to understand that he married a wife from 1942. But the minute that I birthed those children, I decided to leave that generation. And I realized that I could not do this without him. And I don't want to do this without him. And I remind all of my families, especially, oh my gosh, if I could get you prenatally, if I could just get you prenatally, I could set that stage for you to have like a real partnership from the beginning. And I could explain the differences of kind of how things are going to evolve for your partner, even though you have no idea what's coming. And it's about delegation and it's about communication. And it's also about knowing how your partner likes to be loved, how your partner likes to be appreciated. Did you ever hear or see the show Love Island?
No.
Oh, it's horrible. It's a horrible reality show. It's wonderful, though. I have to be honest. It's a summertime reality show where all like these very foxy singles go to like a villa in like Tahiti and they fall in love. But one of the funny things is when we were watching this, the first season of it, I think it was right after the pandemic. Everybody was telling everybody, my love language is, gifts of gifts. My love language is words of affirmation. My love language is blah, blah, blah. And I realized that I was watching this with my husband and I was like, babe, let's take this stupid test. Let's see what our love language is. Nice. So I knew what mine was. Like I could tell you, I know exactly how I prefer to be loved and appreciated and what makes me feel validated. I'm good, right? I'm almost 50. I'm right there. So I feel that. But I was wrong about him. I was totally wrong. And I am with this man since high school. I am with my high school sweetheart. So for me to feel wrong, I was like, wow, like I really read this wrong. And the number one way that he felt love was just by spending time with me.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Oh, I felt so horrible. I felt so horrible. I was like, oh my God, this poor man. I never spent time with him. I'm so busy. I am very typical New Yorker when it comes to that. I have one speed and it is pedal to the metal. That is it. That is how I run all day long until I crash.
Man. Yep.
So I had no idea. And I think that it's always worth us checking in with our partners to say, okay, this is a very temporary time in our universe that we're going to raise these kids as a team. Do we still want to be sitting on the couch holding hands when they are in college? Like I have to say, knock on wood, I cannot wait to have an empty nest. And I really do mean that. Because I know in my heart of hearts, I have done everything that I could to raise those best kids. If I have to say the thing that I feel most successful about, it's my children. If those were somebody else's kids, I say it all the time, I would be envious of that family. Because my kids are like tiny versions of me. They're weird. They're funny. They're compassionate. They're the first person to like jump in an emergency. They are community. They are pillars of society. And I really mean it. Like for real. Like I go onto their Instagram. Like these kids do a lot, but it was always important for me to tell them it is not just you. You are not, we are a team. And we are not a team being the Diaz family. We are a team for humanity. We are in this together. This is it. This is our only chance. You get one spot. What are you going to do with it? Nobody ever dies and says, I wish I would have worked more. I wish I would have made more money. Everybody, unfortunately, all my senior families, like I wish we could have just spent more time together.
Yeah.
So we try to plan, even if it's just eating tacos on the couch, like last night, watching America's Funniest Home Videos, like that was fine. Like I will take it. I don't squander an opportunity to be with them or to be with my husband because I'm still in love with him. And I love that my kids got to watch that. So my kids got to witness love, partnership, appreciation, admiration. Like, I love that. I love that when the kids were little, like we would be smooching in the kitchen and my daughter was like, get a room, because my mother would always say that to us. And I want my kids to know, like, it's okay to hug your partner, to smooch your partner. Like, that's my person. Yeah. And I want them to have that. I want them to feel that safety, and it will be okay. But there is like, we are so off topic, but
I know, but I'm loving it. And it's like, how do we get here from baby sleep? But but
we do. It's all connected. It is all connected.
And what you said is let's do these first couple years as a couple with our baby in a way where there isn't resentment later. And I think I think that this is what is just so holistic about being intentional with life, It's that, I often say, let's homeschool our kids so that when they're 30, they go, thank you, mom.
Yep.
That was a great upbringing. I got, I had so much fun. I had freedom. You gave me a great education. Let's do that now. Let's have our marriages be that now. Let's do those baby stages and phases now. And listeners, I just want you to know, I hope you see, like, meeting people like Natalie is icing on the cake for my job. This is just so fun when I meet people that just are so wise, so caring and loving. I want my moms, I'm going to put like every link I can think of to you. Are there some top 3 resources that you want me to put up front in the show notes?
Definitely. Twiniversity.com for every twin family under the sun. That's it. If you live on Earth, that is your website. That is your go-to. We reach over 1 million people a week. We reach well over 100 countries a day. We are translated into multiple languages. Thank you, Google. So that is kind of like my twin stuff. My regular world is Tiny New Yorkers. And you don't need to be a New Yorker to benefit from the love of Natalie Diaz, but that is covered by insurance. So I am in network with many insurance companies throughout the United States. And if I am not in network with your insurance, I will become in network with your insurance if and when I am able to, depending, of course. Some people won't let me in because it's state dependent, but if they will let a New Yorker in, I will definitely try my best, because I do not feel that people have to pay for education. Not everybody is in a position to be able to do that. And even my books, right? So we got What to Do When You're Having Two and the Newborn Twin Sleep Guide. Like, know that those are available at libraries. So you could go to your local library and you could get a copy of my book. You do not have to. I mean, what do we really make from a book? $1, if at best. So, and then that's shared with my agent and like everybody else. Like, give me a break. Like, no, it's fine. Go to the library, buy this. Anybody who's an author, it's a labor of love. It wasn't how we were planning on retiring. And if anybody's thinking, like, unless you're writing like a werewolf romance, I don't think we're retiring.
No, it is so funny. I'm like, the book did not buy this cute outfit today, ladies.
Right?
Like, I'm standing when I'm speaking at conferences. It's like, nope, the book did not buy this. But I'm glad you bought the book. Thank you. Yeah, that's so true. So, I am so happy about this resource, and it's just so fun. I feel like you would have been a homeschooler.
I would have 100%. A million percent. I would have done the pod is what I wanted to do. I wanted to hire a teacher and just have like 8 kids in our apartment. And just that is desperately what I wanted. And everybody told me that's not a thing and you're crazy. And why would you do that? And my kids were in 6 schools for the first 8 years because either the schools had closed, either there was an issue with the school that it was just off the rails. I didn't feel safe there. They didn't feel safe there. But it was a lot. It was a lot, and it would be one of, not going to say many regrets I have, but it's definitely one that I wish that my kids felt more empowered by their own education. Instead of having to learn this for this exam, which is going to mean literally nothing to anybody. And I say this because I was a horrible student. I was a horrible student, and I am insanely successful. But that really depends on what your term for success is.
Yes.
In my life, there's nothing more. And this is horrible to say, but God forbid something happened to me tomorrow. You should know that I have lived. I have not squandered my opportunities. I was right. If we want to go Hamilton, I took my shot. I took my shot. I take my shot every day. I text my kids every morning, go kick this day in the ding ding. That is literally what I text them every single morning. Make it count. Make it count. Do something for somebody else. One kind word can make a difference in somebody's world. Say it. Say it. You like that jacket? You like those glasses? Let it out there. But I have to tell you, homeschooling 100%. I wish that I could have started more of that because they had to fit into a mold in the schools that they were. And my kids are not made for molds. I wasn't made for a mold.
Well, and it's a mutual feeling because just how I've grown in this whole baby sleep thing and how I did it back then is not how I would do it now. And I'm thankful to have met you. I'm thankful that there's better options, better solutions, better things that we can do, better research now so that we can do better once we've learned and we know better. So I am just so happy that you came on today. I can't wait for my listeners to hear this show and also to just tap into all those resources on your website. I hope you guys gathered whether you have twins or not. It's like getting a baby to sleep is getting a baby to sleep. So thank you so much for spending time with me today, Natalie.
Pleasure is humbly all mine. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You